US has remained in top of the headlines since President Donald Trump has seated on the presidency, and the newest thing has been suspension of immigrant visas from 75 countries. That means यहाँ पे जो 75 countries हैं जिनकी लिस्ट जारी की गई है उनमें से किसी को भी immigrant visa जो है नहीं मिलेगा. And the reason this is a good news for us because Pakistan and Bangladesh are going to be hit as well. However, यहाँ पर अगर हम नोटिस करें तो ये एक जियोपॉलिटिकल क्योस के बीच में हो रहा है. इसका मोटिव क्या है, इसके कंसिक्वेंसेस क्या है, दैट नीड टू बी डीपली अंडरस्टूड, जिसकी डिटेल्स आज के सेशन में हम समझने की कोशिश करेंगे. इमिग्रेशन इज नॉट merely about borders. It reflects states' own economic priorities, security concerns, and where their ideology lies. And this is exactly what the 75 countries ban put in by US on immigration visas puts up in reality. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we are going to dissect this immigration visa suspension that has been put in place by United States on 75 countries, how it is being targeted towards the South Asian continent, and also understanding that why India has been spared. Does India has an advantage here, and what are we looking at? So let us begin with understanding that what exactly has been done. So President Donald Trump has suspended immigrant visas for 75 countries. It is going to be effective immediately for the new visa issuance, immigrant visa issuance that is going to take place, and this has been put in place indefinitely. That means there has been no end date which has been put up in front, and that has been applied 75 countries across the continents, be it Africa, Middle East, Latin America, and most importantly, most important point of our discussion, South Asia. So when we are talking about this immigrant visa suspension, it becomes important for us to understand what exactly is immigration visa or immigrant visa. So when we are talking about immigrant visa, you have to understand here there is a classification that this is with regards to non-temporary stay. That means anybody who is entering a country with an intention of permanent residence, or they have an idea to get the permanent resident card. In context of US, they are entering with idea of permanent residence, or they are looking for a green card status. So this would be placed under immigrant visa, that they are coming for a long-term stay, not temporary stay. And that is why we get to see major categories such as family-based immigration, that means spouses, children or parents of US citizens getting this immigrant visa. Employment-based immigration also takes place, skilled professionals are coming, and diversity visa also for ensuring that there is proper representation of communities also is present. But in this context, there has been a direct impact that will be seen on 75 countries because the suspension has been targeted towards these 75 countries. Now we will also be understanding why specifically these 75 countries. But before that, we also need to understand that how it is different from non-immigrant visa. Non-immigrant visa is more like a travel visa. That means for temporary stay. So it includes any visa that is not looking, any person who is coming with a visa not looking for permanent residency, and it remains unaffected. This kind of visa remains unaffected by the suspension that has been put in place. So when you are coming with a travel visa or a student visa, this is not the part of category that is going to be affected. Now in this context, as I said, we need to understand in detail. So we will be moving towards understanding there are 75 countries which have seen this suspension, but the South Asian countries, because that is going to be the pinpoint of our discussion, are Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal and Pakistan. That is, most of our land neighbors are here in the list. But why not India? So first let us move to understand that is it specifically targeting any ethnicity, religion or an area. So when you look at this selection of the countries, be it 75 here or the 5 we are talking in South Asia, you will get to see that they are not based on any large state, small state, peaceful state. they are indicating that they are putting a very wide filter which is not targeted towards ethnicity, religion, developed, non-developed country. Rather, it is about a policy change that US wants to make. We will be understanding that also. So, as of now, there is no community, ethnicity or race or country that is being targeted. But when we look at the South Asian region, we will be able to understand that why specifically South Asian subcontinent has been targeted, because this has been the origin of high family based immigration. Especially Bangladesh and Pakistan, they have large family reunification flows that have been seen. Furthermore, documentation and governance issues have emerged from this region. For example, Afghanistan. This is conflict-ridden region, and that is why verification challenges are immense. Other than that, Nepal and Bhutan, they do not have any sort of administrative capacity, or even if it is there, it is very much limited. So, any sort of verification and governance becomes very difficult here. So, that is why, again, the specific reason has not been highlighted by the US government, but these are the structural reasons in front of us. Other than that, we also get to see certain economic indicators which are part of this wide net. For example, if there is low per capita income, then there is higher perceived risk of public charge. Now, what exactly is public charge? Let us try to understand this, because this we will be using across this session. So, when we are talking about public charge, let us understand very simply. Basically, let us imagine him as an immigrant who is going to be dependent on the cash aid or the facilities or the government aid which is being provided, and he uses them for survival, not for facilitation that is very much required for his survival. So, such a situation is considered by US immigrant officials as well, and that makes him ineligible for the green card or permanent resident status. So, in this context, if people are coming from low per capita income countries, they will be dependent on the aids given by the government, cash given by the government, facilities given by the government for survival. And that will also make them ineligible for the green card. They will not get permanent residence, and they will also become dependent on the state. So, this is where the problem, another reason we get to see that especially low per capita income countries are also being part of this huge list. Another reason that we get to understand that smaller countries which have been included, they are due to the regional grouping, because they are in given region and they also have the structural reasons. They have not been targeted because of any bilateral assessment. So, for example, Pakistan and US, they have been on and off together. So, it is not based on the bilateral assessment, it is just because of the regional grouping and what is the understanding of that particular country in the regional grouping. So, all in all, this is not a religion based or ethnicity based ban. It is basically based on the risks or the consequences that will be seen on the US's end because of the non-ban or suspension. If it is not in place, what will happen? Now, if these are the reasons, what are the reasons from the US's end to put this immigration visa suspension? Let us understand that. So, the first reason, as I said, public charge is going to help us through this session, is the public charge doctrine. So, when we are talking about immigrants, many countries, they become and get dependent on US public welfare as well. They do not meet the self-sufficiency criteria itself, and that is why all in all they might not get permanent residency and they remain dependent on US public welfare, and that is why they want to change this doctrine. Other than that, overall vetting and documentation has been main concern, and they want to put it in review. They want to revaluation of all income verification, they want to understand sponsor capacity and civil documentation. That is why this suspension has been placed indefinitely. Other than that, we also get to see here that this is related to administrative rationalization. They want to understand existing immigrant backlog, how to address it, how to manage it, and tighten compliance so as to ensure that existing US immigration law can manage, or if there are changes required, that can also be taken place. And another huge factor is coming from the political philosophy and the change that we are seeing, that US does not want to be seen as an immigration friendly nation. US wants to focus on making America great again, and they want to focus and continue restrictive immigration approach. They want to only bring in merit-based and self-sufficient migration, nobody who is dependent on US at all. Now that we have a fair idea why US started this, why South Asia is being targeted, what are the reasons, structural reasons behind it. Now let us also move to understand that why India has been left out. Is there any advantage to it? Yes, India has been left out based on merit, because if you look at the migration profile for India, it is majorly skilled. Major immigration happening from India is highly educated, it is concentrated in science, technology, engineering and mathematics, healthcare and also academia, and they are high income earning on average. So the public charge risk automatically lowers down. They have low welfare dependency, especially on US public aid, and they also have high employer sponsorship rates. Other than that, when we are looking at other reasons, we also see that there are strategic and diplomatic reasons behind it, because India is a strategic partner of the US, and any immigration disruption that US will cause for India, it is not only going to cause hurt to US tech sector, but also create a friction between the two countries. And most importantly, the institutional trust is also a major reason here, because there has been a robust documentation system from India's end, strong compliance record, proper visa processes, which also ensures vetting and documentation proper at US's end. So all in all, India is the shining star in this situation. This suspension and India not being part of it shows that how we are standing differently in the South Asian community. But at the same time, we also have to understand a different dimension, that what are the implications for this India. It is not just an important marker, it will ensure that we keep on getting employment-based green cards, family-based migrations, which will also contribute to our forex. We will have continued dominance in H-1B visa, which is also going to impact our soft power diplomacy, and this also clearly shows a competitive advantage over our neighboring countries. But we have a different side of implication as well, where we get to see where India still faces multiple long waiting periods, and there have been no relaxation on other quotas. This need to be addressed. And this particular 75 countries and the immigration visa suspension that they are facing shows a very high regional contrast, where India gets the policy continuity, but the neighbors have been left in the uncertainty. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.